joining today's session. Before we begin, I would like to personally thank Pastor Luke and Anamika for such an initiative where we have an opportunity to meet together and share something with each other. And also, I would like to thank each one of you for taking out time and joining the session today. You could have been anywhere in this world, but you chose to be a part of the session. I'm really grateful. Thank you, everyone. All right. Before we begin, just few ground rules. Everybody has been muted. In case you have something to say or you would like to add on, I'll request you guys to please raise hand on Zoom, and one of the co-hosts will let you speak. Right? In case you have to leave the session for any reason, please feel free to put this on chat and you can drop off. All right? Perfect. So before we start, let me quickly, before we get into the boring part, let's start with something really, really interesting. I have a very small game that I would like to play. I hope everybody has a pen and a paper with you. I'm carrying my marker. I hope you guys also have one. In case you do, please raise your hands. You will need a pen, a marker, and a piece of paper. All right. Cool. So what we're going to do is, I will give you a set of instructions. All you have to do is follow these instructions and start drawing on the piece of paper, right? The only request or the rule of the game is you cannot ask me questions. Are we ready? Perfect. All right, so to begin with, I'll request each one of you to draw a medium-sized circle on your piece of paper. Perfect. Once you're done, all you have to do is draw a straight line below the circle. In the interest of people who have just joined, I will repeat my instruction. On the piece of paper, please draw a medium-sized circle, and below the circle, draw a straight line. And once you're done, in the middle of the straight line, you have to draw a minus 45-degree line and a minus 160-degree line. I'll repeat. In the middle of the straight line, you have to draw one minus 45-degree line and a minus 160-degree line. I hope the instructions are not too difficult to follow.
How do we draw minus 160? Should we use a protractor or just an arbitrary?
Daisy, since you're the first person to break the rule, I will answer your question.
Sorry.
You can use a protector or you can draw an imaginary line. All right. The only rule of the game is you cannot ask me questions.
Oops, sorry. I didn't know that rule. Sorry.
All right, this is getting interesting, right? So let's move on to the next set of instructions. Now, to the two lines that you have drawn, you have to draw two parallel lines. I'll repeat, you have to draw two parallel lines to the two lines that you have drawn previously. Perfect. I can't wait to see the results. But before we do that, let me quickly sum up all the instructions for people who have joined, right? So on the piece of paper that you have, you need to draw a medium-sized circle, and below the circle should be a straight line. In the middle of the straight line, I request you to draw a minus 45-degree line on one side and a minus 160-degree line on the other side. And the last set of instructions is that you need to draw two parallel lines to these two lines that you have previously drawn. All right. I think we all can get on the video mode to show me the result on your piece of sheet. Can I see your results on the camera, please? Joshua, a little more closer, man. I can't see your drawing. Yes, Daisy, that's a good one. Thank you. Shruti, awesome. That looks great. Wow. Junie, that's a good work, man. Joshua, amazing. Really, that looks great, man. This looks great.
100. Bye. What?
Desi, mute the line.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right. In case your drawing does not match this, you did not follow the correct instructions. The drawing on the piece of paper should look something like this. All right, perfect. Thank you. Let's move on. All right, we have another set of games that we will play in some time, but let's get into some business. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Prem Singh. I have been in Bangalore for the last 3 years, and I have been a part of the New Life Church for the past 3 years now. Me and my wife, we came to Bangalore and joined New Life Church in August 2017. And since then, we've been here. I have been a training professional for the past 9 years. And prior to coming to Bangalore, I was working for an organization called American Express. And then I got invited to come and join the Bangalore team. So I'm here now, right? Today, we just wanted to, or I personally wanted to share some insight about communication and what are certain do's and don'ts and things that you can do to make your communication and conversation more interesting and effective, right? I'll pause here for a second for any question that you might have. Perfect. Thank you. Let's move on. Before we start about the whole agenda of communication and what are we supposed to do, it's really important to understand what exactly is communication, right? No rocket science. It's pretty simple. When two people are talking to each other, sharing information, sharing a piece of data, an idea, or feelings, right? So as you can see on the screen, when two people use a channel to share information with an objective which is absorbed by another individual, right? Each element on the sentence is important to complete a communication cycle, right? So you cannot individually communicate or talk to yourself, all right? You cannot communicate in thin air, where you need to have a channel. There has to be an objective of your communication, right? And there has to be a receiver. There has to be a person who is actually listening to you and will absorb the information that you are sharing, right? For us, we might feel communication is just something that happens in a fraction of seconds. And you are right. When you're talking, it does not actually take a lot of time. But fortunately or unfortunately, it's a very long process, right? The whole communication process actually starts with the sender. He is the person or the originator of the whole cycle of communication. this person would like to share an idea, would like to share a piece of information, would like to share his or her feelings. And that's why the communication will always start with the sender. Excuse me. Once the sender has decided what he or she would like to share, there is a very complex process of encoding his idea, thoughts, feeling, or something that he wants to communicate takes place. Coding is nothing but is just a medium of how the person would like to communicate or share or express the message. It could be writing, it could be speaking, it could be as simple as eye contact or your body language or even your facial expressions, right? We are going to talk about each element or some of these elements in brief as we progress through the session. Once encoding, the whole idea or the thought is converted into the message. This message is actually the most important part of your communication cycle. This is why, there is a sender. This is why he took all the trouble of encoding the message. And this is what is going to get delivered to the person whom I intend to share the idea with. This is the actual message or communication that will happen. Followed by this, now the sender requires some kind of channel to send across this message to the receiver or to the intended party, right? This is basically the carrier of your message. This could be, again, a face-to-face communication. This could be telephonic. This could be a video call. This could be a letter or an email that you send across. Basically, this is the carrier of the message from the sender to the receiver. Once the person has decided the channel, the message gets delivered to the receiver. Who is the receiver? Receiver is the person who was intended to receive this, or the message was directed to this individual person, right? One of the attributes, one of the most important attribute or the traits of this receiver is that he, she should have the capability of decoding the message. Just imagine you're talking to somebody from Haryana in Malayalam, right? The person does not have the capability of decoding Malayalam into his native language. So we have to keep in mind that the receiver has the capability of receiving the message and decoding it, and should also have the capability of effectively understanding your message, right? Once that is done, the receiver will start decoding the message, will start to understand the message in his or her language. It could be that they start to interpret the message in their own, the way they would like to, right? So after the message is decoded, the receiver, which actually reciprocate to the message. You can call it as a feedback, it could be the feelings that got generated once I got the message, once I decoded the message. This could be the understanding about the message after decoding. This is also one of the most important part of communication, because this will help you understand that the message is not distorted. The real meaning of the message is not diluted. And once the receiver is ready with the feedback, the receiver will pick up a channel and share the feedback with the sender. Now, this is how a complete process of communication is. It starts with the sender. Midway, it gets to the receiver. Once the receiver will decode the message, it will again use a channel. This could be, again, your email, a telephonic, could be a face-to-face conversation, to send the feedback to the sender. And this is how, and this is what we call a complete cycle of communication. I will pause here for a second for any question that you might have. Perfect. Lovely audience. All right, before again we move on to some serious stuff, let me take you through some learning facts. There was a professor by the name of Professor Albert Marbian. This gentleman has been working in the University of California since 1960 and was leading a lot of projects regarding communication and the research around teaching and communication. All right. One of his great works on communication is that he actually made a pie chart of communication, and he told us the most important factors of the communication process. As you can read on the screen, when communicating a message verbally to someone, only 7% of your message is conveyed through words. I'll repeat, only 7% of your message is conveyed through words. Surprising, right? 38% of your message is conveyed through voice, and the rest, 55% of the message, is delivered through the expressions and your body language. That is really surprising. All this while I used to think that, you know, the words that I speak, how I speak, my voice is all that matters in the process of communication. And that's how I can make my communication more effective. If I have solid words, my sound, my voice is really great. Unfortunately, Albert has a different view about it. In case you're not able to understand this, let me give you an example. All the parents who have joined the meeting today, you really understand that you don't have to speak a word, you don't have to shout at your kids, or you don't have to scold your kids to deliver a message. All you have to do is stare at them, raise your eyebrows, and your kid will understand what my parent expect, which is to, you know, behave themselves or to discipline themselves. To give you an example about why expressions and body language is more important is when I go out shopping with my wife. All right. So she is in a shop and she's looking for a dress. From the distance, she will pick up a dress and show it to me. All I have to do is show her a thumbs up that I like her dress. Or I show her a thumbs up and I move it right and left to tell her that no, it's not that great. And she conveys she understands the message, but she still buys it. Right? But the process is complete. She understands that my husband likes the dress or he does not like the dress. This is what happens. This is what contributes to your communication. It's an ideal scenario. When I say an ideal scenario, I basically means a face-to-face, a physical conversation, right? So 38% goes to your voice, the tone of your voice. 7% is contributed through your words. The rest, 55%, is actually your body language, your expressions, your hand gestures, your facial expressions. But if I look at 2020, it is not an ideal world. Everything is getting virtual. You know, all your meetings are Sunday services are happening on Zoom. Our carousels are happening on Zoom. Our official meetings and reviews are happening on Zoom. It is basically an ideal virtual environment that we are living in, and we are using this virtual environment for communication. So is Mr. Albert Mahabian wrong? Not really. The only difference is that 55%, which is contributed through your body language, is missing in our virtual environment. We are not meeting our colleagues, our bosses, our subordinates in person. All right. It is hard for them to understand sometimes whether you are angry, are you happy, are you praising them. During these virtual meetings, everything get neutralized, right? the depth of, or the urgency and the importance of that meeting, of that conversation might get diluted. So we thought it's a good time that we focus a little more about the virtual conversation, virtual communication. How can we make these interactions more effective, more fruitful, and the person from the receiving end could make the best use of our virtual sessions. So the focus today will be in the rest 45%, the voice of tone, the words that you're using. How can you optimize these two segments in order to make your conversation more and more effective? I'll pause for a second for any question that you may have.
Yeah, hi, Prem.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Don here. So you said 45% is the voice and the words, right? So is it applicable to say that deaf and dumb, they communicate only 55%?
That's a very, very smart question. Right now, I have not taken into consideration the specially able people. This session and what we are looking at and what we are discussing is basically for people who are, who have the hearing ability and the speaking ability. But to your thought, if you see, they have, they actually utilize, since they do not have the hearing capability and the speaking capability, that segment is totally ruled out for them. They actually totally rely on the sign language, your body texture, your expressions. You are right. We can, we will talk about it a little more in person. All right. But like I said, the focus of today's session is on an ideal an ideal scenario where a person is fully capable of all the human abilities.
Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Perfect. Let's move on. And again, since we have ample of time, I have time for another activity, right? In case you're still carrying your notepads, your papers and markers and pen, all I want you guys to do is write a letter. Write a letter from alphabet on that piece of paper. So the alphabet comprises of A to Z. You can pick up any letter, put it on your piece of paper. And you can show it on the screen. If everybody can bring your letters closer to the camera, perfect. Rohan, I can see your B. Perfect, perfect. All right. Now, all I want you guys to do is, looking at these letters on the screen, make as many words as you can. Please use the letters on the screen to make as many letters as you can. I am the timekeeper. I will give you 90 seconds to jot down these words. In the benefit of all the participants, I'll request you not to remove the letters from the screen so that everybody can look at it and frame your words.
Prem, I think you can type the letters on chat so that they will see.
Yes, yes, sure. Why not?
So can you spell out which all the letters? Is it?
I think there is S, there is A, there is B, there is Z. Other than that, I didn't see anything from others.
Is it S-A-B?
That's it.
Is it S-A-B? That's anyone else?
Z,
Anyone else?
S, A,
We have an
A, B, and B.
we have a B, we have a Z. Parveen, can you bring it a little closer?
Somebody.
Rajinder has a K.
Shall we start making words from the letters that we chose, or
Yeah.
The letters that you see on your screen,
okay?
you can use all these letters to make words.
We have to use all the letters
Yes.
in
Yeah,
one
I have
word.
compiled the letters.
Acha.
Robin, thank you. We have a Z, S, A, B, H, P, D, J. And since we have fewer vowels, you can actually, you don't have to use all the letters to frame words. You can use only few of them, but the exercise is how many words can we frame out of these set of letters? You want to try? I have my chat in front of me. As and when you are able to make these words, you can type in your responses in the chat.
With one word, many words we can make, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
We can use any any vowels. We can use, or only A has to be used.
Only the letters that you see on your chat group.
I think
Z,
whatever is
S,
put there,
A,
only that one.
yes. There's no other vowel in the, yes, we only have A.
Hey, don't put it there, man.
Don't, people will copy.
Copy.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Please,
I
you
think
can
there
put
is-
your
there is
responses in
something-
the chat. Yes.
You said to put it on the chat. That's why I put it there.
Oh, you want to put in this thing?
Yes, you can
Yes.
put your responses in the chat.
So I have made my own words. Okay, don't be shocked.
Deborah, you're doing great. Thank you. Rajinder, that's a good word. Amazing.
Don is using his car techniques, ABS.
Wow. Daisy, that is good. Wow, that is really amazing. Thank you. Good.
Pastor Log, it's Sushmita, not Don. You're giving credit to Don.
Sorry.
Should I change the name?
No.
It's okay. I'm just kidding.
Parveen, I was not able to see your piece of paper. Can you type it in the chat? The words that you've made? Wow, that's a long list. Very, very intelligent.
Hey, there's a word called Jap, Daisy.
I think it's the short form for Japanese or Japan.
Oh, you can do short form also.
Dash is there.
Wow, amazing. Monica, that is good.
Can the
DJ,
short
that is nice.
can the short forms be based on what we think?
Nice, very nice. Dash, that is good. Angel, very smart. Perfect. I think I think most of us has responded. One confession I would make: you guys are one of the best audience and the smartest audience that I have, attended so far. You guys are doing great. Thank you, everyone, for participating so much. Right. Perfect, Rohan. Thank you. That is good. That is good. Perfect. I'll just pause for a second for any question that you may have. And I will give each one of you a minute's time for a short break. You guys want to grab a coffee, you want to check on your kids, you want to check on the curry that is simmering in your kitchen. We will resume in the next 45 seconds.
I told to write. I told. I told.
All right, perfect. Thank you and welcome back, everybody. Now let's get down to some meaty part. This is what we have been preparing for the last couple of weeks. The objective of today's session is to really understand the factors which are contributing to our virtual communication, virtual sessions, virtual meetings, right? How can I make my virtual meetings, my Zoom meeting, my reviews online more effective, more productive, and the participants should get the best out of my sessions or my meetings, right? To start with, there are three factors that we are going to discuss today. The first factor is the verbal factor. Second, we will be discussing about the voice factor, right? And last but not the least, the human factor of communicating, right? So let's start. Let's talk about the verbal factor. What is verbal factors? You know, verbal factors are basically these words, these sentences, the things that you speak and use as a channel to communicate or to transfer your message across to the receiving end. The first and the foremost factors under the verbal factor would be your basic grammar. For people who don't understand what is grammar, if I have to help you understand, grammar is basically building blocks of any language. Grammar provides the backbone or the real structure to any language. A person who has proper grammar will always have an impression of being knowledgeable, of having the confidence amongst his audience. And that is one way that you can actually gain respect from your audience. Please don't take me wrong. I'm not saying the person with a poorer grammar is not respected. Right now, we are talking about leaving a positive impact on my listener, on my audience. In case you want that, you want to have an impression of very positive impact on your audience, you need to have your basic grammar in place. So what you can do is you really have to practice and prepare for whatever speech you are going to deliver. This could be your meeting, this could be your review, this could be an informal conversation with your friends and family members. This could be an interview that you are attending online, right? You have to practice a lot, all right? Some people ask me like, why Prem? Why is it really important to practice and prepare, you know? And this reminds me of Napoleon Bonaparte. All you history lovers, I am sure you will remember the war or the Battle of Waterloo. That was Napoleon Bonaparte's last war. He was defeated by the Anglo-Allied and was sent to exile, right? When I studied the Battle of Waterloo, what I understood was there was only one reason why Bonaparte failed, because he was not prepared for that battle. What I understood was he went for a war against the Anglo-Allied, an army of close to 300,000, which is 3 lakh men, with only 125,000 people, 1,25,000 soldiers. And for me, I think he was not prepared for this battle. So what I say is, Failing to prepare will prepare you to fail. All right. So always practice before you jump into such meetings or interactions. Know your language capabilities. Really, really important. Don't burden yourself. Don't be harsh to yourself. Don't ape. Don't copy anybody. You know, I'm sure you all have some great orators that you follow and your favorite orators and speakers. Please do not copy them blindly. All right. Expand your vocabulary. You have to really expand your vocabulary. Get to know new words. You can do this by reading, by listening, by watching, TV of different languages or the language that you plan to learn. Dictionary is one of the best ways to improve your vocabulary as well as grammar, right? The last time I checked dictionary was yesterday. Dictionary actually gives you the nature of the word, whether it's a verb, whether it's an adjective, how to pronounce that word, how can you use that word with a proper grammar in a sentence. So please feel free to use your dictionary to improve your vocabulary as well as your grammar. And one of the best ways to learn is to be open for feedbacks. You know, if somebody is sharing feedback, is telling you that this is not how you say it, this is not how you use this word, the article that you're using is incorrect, please be open to that feedback. Feedbacks are like presents. You can accept it, whether you want to use it or not, that's up to you. But a smart man, a learned man will always accept this feedback and implement that. Next is mental image. What is mental image? You have to create a picture, a visual picture for your audience every time you speak. But how can you do it? First thing, no, you don't have to kiss your audience. It says, keep it short and simple. All right. Yes, in today's world, everything that is complicated and complex is beautiful, is wonderful. But sometimes in order to wow your audience, you have to keep it short and simple. One of the other things that you can try and do with your audience is you give them a real life example. What is a real life example? This reminds me of a session that Shekhar took. Shekhar, I think he is in the session today. Let me just. So Shekhar, he was a speaker in one of the Sunday services in the Hope Farm Church, and it was in the year 2018. How do I remember this? One thing, or the gist of the sermon still is imprinted in my brain. But why? That day, Shekhar, that is back in 2018, almost 2 years back, Shekhar referred Bible as an instructor guide. And till now, after 2 years, I still remember that. And this is what or how important it is to give real life examples. You know, you print a picture, you bring your audience close to the reality. Right now, amongst my audience, I have people who are IT engineers, they are aircraft engineers, you know, a set of learned people. If you have to help your audience understand the concept, you have to speak their language. You have to give them examples about things that they see every day, encounter every day. One of my clients is one of the biggest travel tycoons. And when I meet my new joiners, in order to help them understand travel industry and the portals, I give them the example of Make My Trip or the app, yatra.com, stuff like this, right? This helps your audience to understand what you're saying, and it will help them retain this for a longer period. Please remember, one of the motive why you're talking, why you're communicating, why you're interacting is you want your audience to retain, understand what you're talking, right? Let's move on. Use appropriate vocabulary. This is something that a lot of people will try to make their conversation more interesting and flowery, but they end up using wrong vocabulary. There is a difference between less, L-E-S-S, and minimum, right? I will leave you with that thought to ponder on. Mind, jog, you need to exercise to stay fit. It is really important that before you spill the beans, before you give out the gist and the really meaty part of your interaction, it is good to create some kind of eagerness amongst your audience. To give you an example, let me tell you a story, and this is my story. I came to Bangalore in May 2017, and I had my first quarterly review with my clients in the month of May, June, July, right? And that time I was still picking up things at my workplace. I was understanding the business, and tada, that was my review day. And on my slide, I only had 3 items. I had a red color rose, I had a red apple, and I had a traffic light with red light on. And this is how I started. Ladies and gentlemen, you see a red rose on the screen, you see a red apple on the screen, and you see a red light on the traffic. What else can be red? And my client says, your scorecard. That's the job. She was right, and we had a good laugh. What I'm trying to say here is, please don't try this at work. But what I'm trying to say is you have to create some kind of eagerness, some kind of excitement amongst your audience before you get into a lengthier conversation. Be humorous, but be very sensitive about what humor, what kind of joke you're cracking. And if possible, please practice your jokes. When I was a trainer back in 2014, I used to prepare my jokes. I will keep my jokes ready. I knew when I have to crack what jokes. Let's move on. All right, grow vernacular. Vernacular is nothing but talking in the language that you use every day. You can call it your mother tongue. You can call it your native language. But before you do that, it is all right to use it sometime to prove your point. You want to make it easy for your audience to understand what you're saying. It is all right to use some local language, but you have to be very careful about the choice of words. You can only use it to highlight some important points. Your 1 hour of meeting cannot happen in your native language unless and until everybody agrees, and that is what everybody wants, right? Prepare and practice, I wanted to meet a few of my friends from France, and how I wanted to introduce myself or what I wanted to say was, Salut, je m'appelle Prem Singh, comment allez-vous? And all that it means is, hello, my name is Prem Singh, how are you doing today? And I made a big blunder. The lady in the group was so embarrassed to listen to what I said. So it is always advisable, please practice all pronunciation and the grammar in case you are trying to use some native or some local language to impress your audience, all right? Most importantly, which is one of the protocols of any meeting, you cannot use unparliamentary language, you cannot be abusive, you cannot use the wrong words. Be very, very careful about it. All right, no speech tics. What are speech tics? Speech tics are basically or also known as fillers, like, I mean, you will actually notice a lot of people using a lot of speech tics and these unwanted fillers during the conversation. Not that they don't know what they're talking about, not that they are not interested in the conversation. The only part is sometimes the speaker needs a breather, needs a timeout, or they want time to think what they want to say next. So they will use some kind of speech tics they will clear their throat, they will clear their nose, or they will use words like, I was going there, the weather was awesome, the traffic in Bangalore, the traffic like in Bangalore, like the cars coming from here, like there's an auto coming from there. You will notice that a lot of people doing that, right? But how can I avoid that? You can actually avoid that by speaking slow. People who speak slow have the tendency of not using or the minimum use of these speech tics and these fillers, all right? Or if you are bored, you can pick up a new filler and a new speech tic. I'll pause here for a second for any question that you may have. All right, wonderful
Prem.
audience. Let's move on to the voice
Prem.
factor. Sorry, please.
What is that alternate speech tick you were telling? I didn't get that.
So you understood the concept of speech tick, right?
Yeah.
So no, you might have understood the meaning of speech tick. I'm talking about the concept of speech tick. Speech tick actually helps people as a breather to think. You really don't have to make a sound, clear your throat in order to think. So you can come up with any alternate. You can actually ask your audience to pause for a second. You want time to think. You want time to find a better words to express yourself. Using a filler or a speech tick might be annoying for your audience. The best way to do is something that I usually do is I take permission from my audience to pause, to think, right?
Okay.
So most important is to understand why people use these fillers and speech ticks rather than, what other sound can I make? All right, let's move on. When you talk, you're part of a meeting, you're giving a session, you're giving a presentation, very, very important to pause. What are pauses? A pause should be a deliberate and a necessary break that you do while you talk, all right? You can pause to think and breathe, very, very important. The last thing I want is somebody fainting during his speech because he did not breathe enough. And you have to think and speak. We will discuss a little more about it as we move further. You have to pause for questions, right? I have seen a lot of people during the reviews, during the meetings, they will talk non-stop to make sure that nobody asks them questions. Nice trick. But if you want your interaction to be really, really effective, you have to pause for questions, right? You have to make sure that people your audience has chance to raise questions, to add on or to appreciate what you're saying. Always remember that if you are driving a fast car, it will take time to stop. And this is what happens. If you are talking, you're speaking too fast, you might take a lot of time to stop. It's possible that you have made a lot of mistakes during your speech. You have missed on something really important, some important facts, some important numbers that you might have fixed. But when you speak slow, you actually have enough time to pause because you are making a deliberate effort. Please don't make any kind of unwanted and inappropriate pauses, right? In the middle of speech, you just stop. And I noticed that I did myself during this interaction. I paused, I had some unwanted pauses myself. Avoid them, all right? Read your audience. One of the best ways to utilize your pauses is you look at your audience. You will understand if people have questions. You will understand if people are not able to understand what you're talking about. You will understand if your people are really want you to stop and do some recap of things that you have spoken. Read your audience. Next is projection and modulation. This reminds me of drama, but always keep in mind, you have to have a dramatic delivery, not a dramatic expression. you are reviewing your subordinates, you can't have an angry face, but you can surely, with your voice modulation and projection, you can show that you are unhappy with the performance of your team. You really don't have to put it on your face. And this goes out everywhere, you know, when you're talking to your colleagues, you're talking to your family members, you're talking to your kids. You really don't have to make that smiley face all the time. You really don't have to have that ugly face to show them that you're disappointed. But what is voice projection? Voice projection is the strength, the effort that you put while speaking, wherein you can use it to sound clear and loud. To give you a little more insight and help you understand this, let's pause and think about our favorite orator. My favorite orator or speaker was dictator Gaddafi, the dictator of Syria. That was a long time back. That was a time when I have not heard Billy Graham. After I heard Billy Graham, he is my favorite orator and speaker. And this is the perfect example that I can give. His voice projection, the way he speaks, the strength that he puts while he's speaking helps him sound clear and loud. Voice modulation is basically changing your voice, right? You can use this in order to sound or make yourself more effective. To give you an example, I know when I have kids around, I make kids sound, you know. No, I don't want to play this game. I would rather ride a bicycle. We all do that, or we might have done that at some point of time, right? So, and you can actually use voice modulation to express yourself even better, but you will have to be very, very mindful that how you use it. Please do not offend anybody, or, you know, or you're mocking somebody, or you're mimicking somebody to an extent that they get offended. Voice intonation. What is voice intonation? Simple. Voice intonation are the voice going high, going low, the ups and downs in your voice when you're interacting. I won't spend too much time to explain this. Let's look at these 4 sentences that, or rather one sentence that I have on the screen. The sentence is, I want that money. So intonation is when I stress or I focus on a certain word or a phrase in my sentence to have or to change the meaning of the sentence. Without you guys going off mute, if you read this sentence and you can start focusing on the white words, you will see the meaning of the sentence changes without changing the words in the sentence. I want that money. I have a set of people here, out of which it is only me who needs that money. I want that money. I am so desperate. I want that money. I want that money which is in Pastor Luke's pocket. I want that money. I am being very specific about which money I am talking about. And last, I want that money. You know, you are telling your preference. You are giving them your priority. You're telling your audience what you want. On my table, I have my car keys. I have my wallet. I tell my wife to bring me my money. I hope that clears or that gives you a little understanding about what intonation is and how it can help you convey the right message, what you intend to do. And let's move on. Pace your speech. This is what we were referring about, the appropriate pace, pauses during your conversation or speaking slow. Back in the days, I was coaching a set of aspiring communication coaches, and I used to tell them to speak slow. And one of the smart lads, he asked me, "Sir, if I speak slow, wouldn't I sound like a sloth?" My answer to that is yes, I think you sound worse than a sloth, right? Speaking slow doesn't mean that you reduce the rate of your actual speech 5 times or 3 times. No. When I say speak slow, it is very, very simple. You have to spend adequate time. You have to spend enough time pronouncing each word. Does that make sense? Yes. Now, in case you will see, each word is made of a set of words. Talking a little technical, each word is made of syllables. What are syllables? Easy to understand. Syllables are the sound in each word, are the vowels in each word, which help producing a sound. Each vowels, the vowels in our alphabet are actually there to produce sound. There is no sound for letter B, C, D, F, G, H, J, K, and so on. But there is an A sound. There's an E sound. There's an O sound. There is a U sound in every word that you pronounce. To help you understand this better, let's go back to a piece of paper and the markers that you have, and I will request each one of you to write down the word communication. The topic of our session today. For spelling assistance, it is right on top of the screen. You will see virtual communication, COMMUNICATION. Let's write down this word communication on the piece of paper that you have. And I will request each one of you to pronounce that word, communication. It takes less than a second to pronounce the word communication. I hope everybody agrees with me. And just to make sure that I have all you guys up and wide, can I see a raised hand on your screens, please? Please use your Zoom to raise hands. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Angel. And thank you, everybody. All right. Somebody asked me, so you're talking about that one word communication? I am talking about communication. Joshua, thank you. I am talking about the word communication, but for me, communication is not one word. It is a set of 5 words. Or technically speaking, 5 sounds, 5 syllables. To help you guys understand this better and to involve you guys in what I'm trying to explain, I would want you to speak or pronounce the word communication 5 times slower. Communication. Right? Try one more time. Communication. Let's move on to the part B of the exercise. Now, as you pronounce this word, start writing the sounds that you hear as you pronounce this word. Communication. And I would really appreciate if you can start showing it on the screen of what sounds were you able to capture, or what all sounds did you hear when you were pronouncing the word communication? I will wait. So for people who lost me, all I want you guys to do is pronounce the word communication 3 times or 4 times slower. And as you speak, start writing down the sounds that you hear while you pronounce the word. Marina, that is so awesome. That is, you nailed it. You guys can either show it on the screen or you can put it in the chat, the sounds that you hear when you pronounce the word communication. Just out of my habit. Yes, perfect, Joshua. That is good. That is good. You're getting in there. Yes, I'm so happy that you're able to understand what I'm trying to express here, to explain here. This is exactly what it means. And you will notice Marina and Joshua were able to, wow, Angel, that is so cool. That is so nice. I think next time you should be conducting this session for me. I know whom to reach out for my backup plan. Daisy, that is, you've narrowed it down so much. Thank you. Thank you. So awesome. Deborah, you nailed it. This is exactly what we were looking for. You guys are not just nice and good people. I think I have a bunch of intelligent crowd with me. Thank you, each one of you, for such lovely participant and being so participative. Right? Communication. These are the 5 syllables in the word communication. Each one of you nailed it. Thank you, Angel, Daisy, Marina, Roha, sorry. Yeah, each one of you who were able to figure out what I was talking about. Joshua, thank you, man. Thanks a lot. I hope I'm able to help you guys understand what it means to speak slow, to pace your speech. And also, you know, when you're talking too fast, people will not be able to understand what you're talking about. Somebody told me that there's a rapper called Eminem, and he came up with his latest song called Godzilla, which is one of the most fastest sung rap song. They are close to 250 words that he has spoken in 1 minute. And when I heard the song, I didn't understand a word of it. All right, when you speak too fast, you are not able, people won't be able to understand. And when you talk too slow, you might not, people will get bored. You know, they will lose interest. When you speak slower, you know, you sound clearer. All right. I am not restricting my concept to the local crowd that we have or to our domestic circle or the network. In case you are talking to somebody who's new to you, it could be an offshore client, it could be a friend who a friend from an outside country. It will help them understand if you speak slower. It gives you, when you speak slow, it gives you time to correct yourself, you know, correct the facts that you might have quoted incorrectly, correct the mispronunciation of words that might have occurred during your interaction. And to speak slow or to speak faster can be used very wisely to make your interactions and meetings and sessions very interesting, to keep your audience on their toes. All right. So let's move on to the human factors. But before I do that, any question that you guys have? Perfect. In the interest of time, I'll move ahead. Let's talk about some human factors, right? As per Albert Mehrabian, the body language plays a crucial role in communication. But what happens when we are not physically present to deliver our message? All right, we're doing it virtually. Human factor still plays an important role for you to sound intelligent, for you to have a very sensible conversation. And most importantly, the message gets delivered, is being absorbed by people, and your audience loves you. First are the basic etiquettes. You have to take permission before you speak. Somebody is talking and you just interrupt. No, it is very, very annoying a lot of times, right? You can actually take permission before you even start delivering your message in a meeting, in a non-formal conversation, in your private groups. Introduce yourself, very important. Even if people know you, at least giving out your name and a title if required really helps you get the attention from your audience, will help people know you in case there are some new members in your meetings and your interactions. Avoid interruptions. If you feel that somebody's talking, somebody wants to say that, avoid that. If you feel that somebody is wanting to interrupt you, stop that too. You have a message to deliver. You can always, or the person who is trying to interrupt can wait. The human part to this is, once you are done, you can please invite that person to complete or to deliver what he wanted to say. You have to respect the listener. When you're talking, it's a two-way channel, right? There's a speaker and there's a listener, right? Similarly, as a speaker, there's a chance that you will be in the learner's position at a given point of time. You have to listen well. Why? We'll discuss in the slide to come. Respect time, really, really important. If you are hosting a meeting, you are the speaker of the meeting, always keep an eye on the watch. I have 14 minutes to go, right? The magic word, use sorry every time you mean it, all right? If you have interrupted somebody by mistake, or somebody has interrupted you, sorry to interrupt you, or I'm sorry I interrupted you, I'm sorry to interject. Please use such words. This will enforce and will create a very healthy environment during your sessions, meetings, briefings, or interactions, or even some informal friendly conversation, right? Your acceptability will increase, right? In case you have to disagree with somebody, somebody quoted a fact that Bonaparte did not fight, or Waterloo was not Bonaparte's last war, last battle. Use the word sorry when you disagree with somebody. You just can't punch them with, no, that is incorrect. You don't even know your facts right. Please use the word sorry, right? In case you yourself have quoted some wrong facts, some wrong numbers, or you have mispronounced the word, or you might have used an unparliamentary language during your interaction, use the word sorry. Please do not ignore. Remember, there is an objective of you talking, of you communicating. The objective is that it has to be accepted, absorbed by your audience. For that, if you miss on these human factors, you will miss on the audience. You will lose your audience. They will lose interest. They might become judgmental. They might start hating you, right? And you can also say sorry for exceeding time. Rather, you should say sorry for exceeding time, right? Time is money. Say thank you. Say thank you for being invited to speak. This could be in your meetings. This could be in your Sunday service. This could be in some informal conversation. It builds a warmth around. People will be keen to listen to you. They will be excited to hear what you have to say. They like your mannerism. They like your etiquettes. That is one way of putting the first impression. Even before you speak, you can wow your people, your audience, by your manners and etiquettes. All right. You can thank them for any assistance that you might get during your interaction. And I would like to apologize and that I missed on this in the start of my sessions, that I would like to thank Don and Sushmita for letting me use their facility, their premises, and thank you for arranging all the logistic for the session today. This means a lot to me. You can thank people for all the fortunate incidents that you're quoting. Thank God I got this opportunity for conducting this session. Or thank you for providing this to me. Thank you for letting me do this. Use all that. And always, always, always thank people for listening to you. Very important. There are so many people in this world with great ideas, but with no audience. Whenever you get a chance, whenever you get audience, please thank them for listening to you. And last but not the least is you listen, and you listen, right? Not because someday you will be speaking, but even as a speaker, it is important to listen. Don't just keep your agenda and your speech as a priority and you ignore everybody. I have heard people, when in the audience says something, even without listening, they will be like, yes, that is correct, to show them that they heard them. We are not talking about hearing, we are talking about listening, right? You cannot talk without listening, right? In order to sound intelligent, sound meaningful, you have to listen first. You have to listen to your inner voice, right? Always remember that you listen before you speak. The biggest mistake we do is we speak before we listen, and then we make mistakes. We have false start in our conversation. It is always listening will ignite, will help you with the multi-dimensional thinking and thought process. The more you listen is the more your ideas will increase. It will increase the horizon. It will provide you a multi-dimensional scope towards life, towards concept, right? We all lately, lack of better example, lately I've been listening to Billy Graham, and I feel that it is helping me think multidimensionally, right? Listening enhances your knowledge, no doubt. And last and least, when you listen to somebody, it shows, it indicates that you care. And that is the whole idea about interacting, is you care. You care for your clients, you care for your subordinates, you care for your family members. But if you are only talking without listening, I'm sorry to say, but the human factor, the missing human factor will make your conversations dull, right? That is all I wanted to share so far. And before I move on to the last piece, I will pause here for any questions that you might have. All right, I think we don't. I will just show you guys a quick video of what conversation is, how conversations go wrong, and the different factors why conversations go wrong. This might not be the best of the videos that I could arrange, but I think it does the job. I will start the video now.
All right, so let's have Matthew then start. So what do you think it is? Okay. And let me get a picture of what the word was, what the sentence was.
All right, so that is the video, and allow me a second. Perfect. I hope you understood what I was trying to convey. There are a lot of factors that will actually impact and will dilute the real message of your interaction of communicating, right? I'm going to pause for another 30 seconds to take up any questions. This could be regarding the human factor or anything that we have discussed in the previous slides.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
If we are talking in a conversation, or if we are in a meeting scenario or giving a seminar, and if anyone interrupts, how do we handle the situation without hurting the sentiments of the person, or considering the fact that he is interrupting also?
Yes. It's a process. To interrupt somebody in a formal conversation is a process. It includes, first you tell the person to, first you acknowledge the person that he wants to speak. Second, you deny him to speak. And last is you tell him that you're going to get back to him. So something like, sorry, ma'am, can I get your name? I'm talking to the person who raised this question.
Oh.
Yes, can I get your name, ma'am?
Okay.
Who? No, I'm sorry. I'm asking you, like
Angel.
Angel,
He
or
is
is that
asking you.
Angel?
He's asking you. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, Angel. So suppose somebody, you are in a meeting and somebody actually raises a hand that he wants to speak. You can actually acknowledge that, right? Yes, Angel, I see that you want to say something, but just hold on for a second. I'll get back to you. Or if somebody unpolitely starts to talk professionally and humanly, you can ask that person to stop. I'm so sorry to interject, but can you please hold on for a second? I will get back to you in some time. Right? And honestly, you really can't hold somebody from not feeling offended, but what you will, I think if you follow these 3 steps, the process of interjecting, this is the most professional way of doing it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Anybody else? All right, just out of habit, I will be sending across a link for some feedback about the session today. All right, please take out, it won't take more than 1 minute to complete the survey. And I will be looking forward to your feedback. And I would like to personally thank each one of you for attending the session today. You've been a wonderful audience. I hope whatever we discussed today, you can use it in future for your daily conversation, for your official conversation. And this might help you in being more effective in the way you communicate. In case any one of you wants to discuss or wants to understand any piece of today's session in detail, please feel free to contact me personally. I will do my best to help you understand the concept or to enforce the concept with you. Thank you, everybody. That's all I have for you today. I wish each one of you a good day. Have a wonderful, blessed day. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Prem. It was a wonderful session.
Thank you, Prem. Thank you.